How do your family feel about you supporting Trump?
So in the beginning, it was wild, obviously, because you just don't do that. And
Yeah.
I had like when I used to make worldly music, I had songs on the radio during this time, and it was messing up a lot of my relationships. But I'm I'm the type of person that I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, that's up to you. But so back then, there used to be, real arguments. But my dad said he don't even think he could be a Democrat no more, and my mama said, "Let's go, Brandon." So
That's right. So how did you become so brave and self-confident? How did you become that way?
I think I was born like this. I've always been crazy. I wish my parents like tell a lot of the stories from me being in high school, middle school. It may have been the energy may have been in the wrong direction, but I've always played to my own music and danced to my own drum beat.
Yeah.
So I've always been like that.
And did you know that the president Trump mentioned you, right?
Yep.
About
Yes,
election.
sir.
Yeah. And have you and what was that like for you when you heard about that?
Insane. The press that song got was insane because even a lot of the conservative organizations that don't like me, even they had to post about what was going on with the "Let's Go Brandon" song. So
Yeah.
that whole ride over the last 3 weeks has been insane.
Yeah, I hear about it everywhere I go. Really, I literally hear people either singing or talking about it. Even my Democrat family members and liberal family members, they love it.
That's
Let's go,
so cool.
Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. So, what other thing about the Republican bringing in the LGBT people? What do you think? Why do you think they're doing that?
Um, I've been trying to figure it out. Obviously, it's because I don't know if you've seen the recent study, but I think they say like 37% of people from ages 18 to 24 identify as like LGBT. So I think they're trying to, you know, fight for the future votes
Yeah,
because let's be real. So far, we're getting our butts whooped in the culture war. This culture is
yeah,
ran by Satan, and Republicans haven't been helping. And so I think they're trying to do that, but mathematically, it doesn't make sense. 15% of registered LGBT voters vote for Republicans, and Trump, after the latest exit polls, got 14% of that. The truth of the matter is, over 80% of white Christians vote for the GOP.
yeah,
So mathematically, making the Christians angry to appeal to what less than 3% of the country simply doesn't make sense. You can't out left the left and expect to
right.
win. They're already 5 steps ahead of you in that area.
Yeah,
How far are you going to go? Because a skirt wearing boy has been messing with little girls in bathrooms. So are
yeah,
you how far is the GOP? How far are they willing to go to get that gay vote? Because if they're not going to go as far as the left, then you might as well start standing for something. People need the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like if one side is going to be pure evil, you can't be pure evil and
yeah.
win. They're already beating you in that aspect. But who am I?
I remember 31 years ago when I became well, actually 32, I became a Republican conservative. And at that time, they were talking about God, country, and family, and they were speaking out against this radical homosexual stuff, and they were not for it. But I've noticed over the years that has all changed. And if you're against that, they won't even have you on because. And then I heard that one of the reasons they stopped criticizing these radicals is that they have them in their families. Some of them have homosexuals and lesbians in their family, and they don't want to insult them. And they have people who had abortions and things like that. So they're getting away from the moral issues. And I think that's a big mistake for them to do that.
The biggest mistake, and what you said is right. It's the greatest plan of all time. Really, you force it into culture, make people see it, make everyone desensitized to it. So now all the people that were against it, now they have nephews,
Yeah,
nieces, sisters, brothers, daughters, sons that are gay. So now you get soft on it, and
yeah,
next thing you know, you're scared to talk about it. And now the only people that's speaking about it are the people that are in it and promoting it, and now that's all children get, and it's kind of scary. And if people don't start speaking out, it's just gonna get worse, as we're already seeing.
Yeah, I got one of those cold call from a Republican. Somebody representing the Republican tried to raise money for the Republican Party, and so they asked me what I continue to donate, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll donate to Donald Trump if he runs, but I'm not donating another penny to the Republican Party because they don't represent me anymore. They are no different than the Democrats. And the lady said, it was a woman, she said, I understand how you feel, sir. I get a lot of people telling me that now. And look like that should be a message to the Republicans. They need to step it up.
It's not going to happen. The craziest thing to me is at these events, people say Bryson cannot perform. We're not going to let Bryson speak because I'm too religious or I'm too conservative. But they have no issues letting a homosexual speak.
Yeah.
They have no issues letting a man dressed like a woman speak and prop them up at events. But they have a problem with actual Christian and actual conservative values. That creeps me out.
That's right. I saw Bruce Jenner, and Bruce is a guy in a dress, right? But he's still a guy, but I hear conservative media calling him a she. And I'm like, that's a man in a dress. It's still a male. It's not a she. But they're acting like it's a she. They're acting just like the Democrat. It's crazy to see that.
It's worse because the LGBTers, all the homosexuals that claim to be right wing, they give you this perception that they say it so loud. They say, we're against the LGBT community too, as they have on a dress and heels. This one dude I went to an event, he's like 6'3", bro, 6'3", had on dress and heels. I'm like, you need to be trying to get into the NBA or something. I don't know what you're doing here.
Amazing. I want to ask you about the music and culture. The late Andrew Breitbart famously said, politics is downstream from culture. Have you ever heard that before?
Oh, yes, sir. I say it all the time.
What does that mean?
Basically, it means everything follows culture. And I won't even say politics. I'm going to say everything is downstream from culture. So whatever the culture starts, whatever way the culture goes, that's where everything else is going to go, as we see. That's why we're talking about the GOP from 30 years ago. When you started supporting them, it was about God, family, and country.
Yeah.
And now they're pretty much, I mean, the Republicans now are more left-wing than Obama's first term.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
So we're seeing it play out in real time. Everything is downstream from culture.
I believe if the Republican Party has stayed with the idea of God, family, and country, not the idea, but the reality, and they had started going into the black communities and talking about that, talking about independence, being free, and believing in God, and they had gone into the black communities the way the Democrats were doing it, I believe if they had stayed with that today, we'll have more blacks in the Republican Party than what we can imagine.
Oh, easy. It's so easy because at least where I come from, the black community, our values naturally align more with the right than it does the left. But the GOP too busy, scared to offend people and trying to chase the tail of Democrats. They don't even see what's going on.
Yeah. What do you think about, have you noticed the attack upon white people today?
Oh yeah.
It's like they want to run them out of the country. Why is that happening?
Because they're what, 70% still, 67% of the country, and that's not good for Democrats. That's not good for the left. So what they're trying to do is let all the illegal immigrants in, turn everybody gay, pander to black people all day, let black people do and say whatever they want, persecute white Christians, and then they plan might start working even more than it is now.
Absolutely, man. Why don't the white people stand up and speak up and say no to this stuff?
They're scared. I don't know what's going on. These people out here kissing black people's feet. Boy, y'all lost y'all mind. Y'all lost y'all mind. I don't know what's going on with folk today.
And the men are as afraid as the white women. The white men have the same fear that the women have. And I expect the men to at least be stronger than the woman, but they're allowing this stuff, this critical race theory to be taught to their children. The kids have to get up in classroom and tell the black kids and others, I'm evil, you're better than me, I have white privilege. Little children are being traumatized by that, and the white parents are just letting that happen.
This is what happens when the household or anything else, when you letting the woman lead over the man, the man is scared of the woman, beta male, as you would say. when that is the case, this is what comes. Women are more emotional. That's biology.
Yeah. That's right.
So that their decisions are going to be more based on emotion than what your average man would. But if a man is letting the woman run everything and wear the pants, then what do you think is going to happen to the kids? What do you think is going to happen to culture? What do you think is going to happen to the men, period?
Yeah. So what does what does this conservatives need to do to take back the country?
Culturally, we need to start fighting back against culture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. You can vote for politicians all day long. You can donate however much money you want to. These politicians are not going to change culture. Where I come from, nobody's about to listen to no man, black or white, in a suit talking politically correct all day.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is fight back within culture. The same way they got their Cardi B's, you got Tyson James on our side, you got me, you got a few other artists on our side that conservatives are so scared to do something with, but the left not scared to prop up Cardi B. They're not scared to get their favorite celebrities out. Little Nas X. They're not, because Democrats, as far as culture, are smarter than Republicans. That's just the harsh truth.
Yeah, you made such a good point. I was reflecting that when I first started out, there were so many conservative black people that Fox News and others would have on, and they were not afraid to tell the truth about the family and about whatever going on. But because Fox News and others have weakened, they're afraid to have those conservatives on now because they don't want them telling the absolute truth. Whereas if they had continued that, they would be encouraging more black people to start speaking up and rethinking things, but they'll soften down and they just won't promote conservatives anymore.
Because they allow culture to soften down.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can say whatever you want, be the most gayest person, wear a dress, and anybody will have you on, including Fox News. Yeah. But I can't go on Fox News and say the man is supposed to lead and the woman is supposed to submit. And I can't go on there and say maybe if the woman was at home and the father was working and y'all stop being played by convenience, you make her raise her own children. I can't go say marriage is between a man and a woman and that's it. You can't even say that anymore on these platforms.
Yeah. I noticed that Fox News now is pushing more women over men when it comes to the trucking jobs and everything. When they want an expert, whatever the situation, they tend to bring in women now. Once every blue moon, they were bringing a male, but they're like, just like the Democrats, they're pushing the women thing.
You said it, just like the Democrats. That's all Republicans do. They just 5 years behind the Democrats, 5 years behind the Democrats.
Yeah.
And every time.
What a mess. So is it true that you were invited to, I don't know which network, and you refused to go because they wanted you to wear a mask?
To clarify that, it was Fox News, and it wasn't that they wanted me to wear a mask, but they said the hotels and everybody required masks or a vaccine passport. and of course, I was going to drive. So that just it simply wasn't worth the drive, and it just didn't happen.
Right on. You something else, man.
Yeah, so some people call it crazy because I spend so much money traveling.